Hey friends, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today we are going to be doing another nail polish tag. This one is the Unpopular Opinions edition from Jody's Polish. Some of you might be familiar with Jody's Polish, but this video is from like 7 years ago. But I did see that Nicole and Hillary did also do this tag recently too, so I wanted to join in on the fun. As always, I will have the questions in the description box and the timestamps and all of that, so I hope that you leave your answers down below. But for now, let's just get into the unpopular opinions. So the very first one is a popular polish that you don't like. And I really had a hard time with this one because I feel like generally a lot of the popular shades are also ones that I like. But I did recently see Mooncat post about Dark Horse and how it won these awards, which is great, you know, congratulations to them. But I was also just kind of shocked by that. I feel like there are just so many other Mooncat polishes that I think would be more deserving of an award, but apparently Dark Horse is one of their best sellers and I just don't love that one. I think maybe it has to do with like the undertone of the polish or something that just it clashes on me, because I do think it does look super beautiful, especially on deeper skin tones. But yeah, that is one polish that I don't like, unfortunately. The number two is a polish that everyone hates but you like, and this one was also kind of challenging because again, my taste can definitely be considered like safe or basic or predictable, and I am totally fine with that. So generally, a lot of polishes that a lot of people don't like, I would also not like them. But I think if I were to like broaden the question a little bit to maybe a finish, I think jellies are probably one that I really love that a lot of people seem to not love. Like anytime Cirque releases either a full-on jelly collection or just some jelly polishes, people just don't love that. And I get it, you know, it's not for everybody. Not everyone loves the visible nail line or that super glassy translucent look, but I really do. And I guess if I were to think of like a specific polish, maybe the one that comes to mind is Kismet from Cirque's Encore collection, that like super ballet court inspired one. I saw somebody post on Reddit when that first came out, they were like, go girl, give us nothing. And I get it. Kismet is not one of those shades that, you know, stands out. It's definitely a super sheer, very neutral, like barely visible kind of polish, but I still really enjoy that one, mainly because I feel like it just counteracts my staining and it just freshens up my nails so much. But I'm also just a fan of that kind of look anyway, where it's like your nails but better. You know, I love sheers and neutral shades like that. So I'm not sure if a lot of people on here, like my community, would hate Kismet, but that's one that I can think of at least. The next one is a nail polish finish that you don't like. And this one was really easy. I immediately thought of bar glitters. The most recent polish I can think of that was with that bar glitter formula was Cirque's Twinkle Tweed from their Atelier collection last year. It's one of those that looks fun in the bottle. Like I can understand the vision where it's like confetti-ish, but on my nails, I feel like it just wasn't as bright and colorful, and so it just reminds me of what my bathtub looks like after shaving my legs. So not exactly what I would want to wear on my nails, but maybe I just need to play around with it more, layer it on different things. I guess another finish that I don't love is a textured finish. I don't hate it like some people do, where it's like a really extreme sensory kind of thing, but it's not one that I'm like, ooh, yeah, I really want that. Number four is a brand you think is overpriced. And this one was also an easy one, but I feel like I'm also giving a little bit of a cop-out too, because the main answer that I have is Cirque, because their polishes are just very pricey for the size especially. But I do still think that other boutique brands like Mooncat and Holo Taco are generally also very expensive. And honestly, even like some indie brands where they're charging like $14.50, to me, those are like high prices for nail polish. Obviously, I still try to support indie brands when I can, but it just is so crazy. Like, not to sound like a boomer, but I just remember when I first got into to nail polish and indie polish specifically, back when I was buying Noodles nail polish, those were like $8.75. And I remember when she eventually increased it to like $9, $9.25, $9.50. It's like a small and gradual change, but it's just so crazy to think about back then paying like maybe $9 for, you know, these indie brands. And now it's like $14 at least. But if I only had to choose one, it definitely would be Cirque because of the price per milliliter. It is just crazy expensive. So number 5 is a trend you can't get on board with. And I don't even know if this is really considered a trend, but a pet peeve of mine that's like in this similar vein is either renaming looks that already exist, like back when Hailey Bieber did chrome nails, but then everybody called them glazed donut nails. But more specifically, it's just whenever a celebrity does something and then everybody is doing that same thing. Like you may remember last year, blueberry nails was like this huge thing, but they were just light blue nails. And in a similar vein, now apparently the new trend is butter nails, which are just pastel yellow, which don't get me wrong, I absolutely love. I shared a milky pastel yellow in my spring favorites video this year, but that had nothing to do with the trend. I swear, I'm just not someone who loves like following what's trending and stuff. And it just is weird to see, especially when it comes to like renaming. But again, specifically when it's because a celebrity does something and then everybody wants to do it after. I just don't love that. So speaking of trends, the next one is a trend you didn't like at its peak, but you do now. And again, this was kind of hard because I don't keep up with trends, but even when I notice that something is trending, it's something that I usually like anyway. But what I did think of was multi-chromes, where I feel like multi-chromes were a lot more popular years ago. Kind of like when I first got into nail polish and like the indie space on Instagram especially, it just was like everywhere, but it wasn't a finish that I really cared for, so I never got into them. But obviously I like them now, and while I do think there are people who, you know, still love multi-chromes, and obviously brands are still releasing multi-chromes, they're just not as popular, at least in my opinion. Number 7 is a color you don't wear often or at all. And this was pretty easy. The first color that I thought of was chartreuse, which if you've been following me or my channel a while now, that's not surprising at all. I'm just always so picky when it comes to any green leaning yellows, yellow leaning greens. Just, they really could be so hit or miss for me. It's definitely like my least favorite color, so that's an easy one. But another color that I did think of that I do like, but I still don't wear often, is red. If you remember my favorite reds video from last year when I started my favorite color series, I did talk about that I normally don't wear like brighter red colors like Big Apple red or just any kind of like fire truck red. I, if anything, would go for a deeper one, maybe one that's more like wine or burgundy, maroon. It's definitely not because I don't like red the way that I don't like chartreuse. I actually think when I do wear red nails, like it looks nice. It's just one that I don't go for that often. But I am trying to change that. I feel like there have been a lot of reds that have come out in the last like couple of months or year that really have changed my mind. Like the most recent one I can think of is Cirque Colors Poppy Jelly from their Glaze collection. It's one that I just never thought I would enjoy, but I really like it. So I'm gonna try to wear that a little bit more often this year. Okay, so now we're kind of getting into it. Number 8 is a polish that you do like, but you also think is overhyped. And I'm like almost scared to say this, but my answer is ILNP's Fairy Dust. I know, okay? Like, again, it's a polish you like, so I do like it, but I just think it's a little overhyped. Like anytime anybody was sharing it last year, you know, after it came out, even months after the fact, I was like, yeah, it's a pretty polish, but I mean, you know, my favorite from the collection was Pixie Party. So whenever anybody or their mom was talking about Fairy Dust, I'm just like, am I missing something here? I mean, like, it's beautiful. I still like it, but I just didn't get why it was like so like talked about, you know? But I guess to be fair, it's been a while since I did like a full manicure with it, so maybe I am missing something, but I cannot wait to hear what you guys think of my answer for this one specifically, but also just your answers for this question. I did also want to talk about like a brand too, because I immediately thought of a brand instead of a polish, and that one would be Lumen or Ethereal. Don't get me wrong, they make some really beautiful polishes that are so sparkly, so shimmery, so up my alley, but I just hate like the FOMO around them. Maybe it's a little extreme to say, but I feel like there's almost this like cult following behind them, which I guess technically exists in every brand, but I don't know. There's just something about the way that they handle like doing these exclusive small batch drops that I just don't love. And also the fact that they end up releasing polishes that are like very similar to each other. I know that they are like a mother-daughter brand, but even just within Ethereal alone or within Lumen, I feel like they've released shades that are just similar to ones they already have. But I guess the plus side to that is because they don't keep everything in stock, if you did miss something from before, they likely will release something similar to it again in the future. So yeah, I don't know, maybe that's controversial to say, but that's the whole point of the video. Then number 9 is a popular top coat that you don't like. And I wasn't totally sure about this one because I have my holy grail top coat, which is Mooncat's Speed Demon, and so I always reach for that one. And I generally do like a lot of the top coats that I've tried, but I guess when it comes to maybe like a boutique brand, because they're bigger, the one that I don't love is Holo Taco's Glossy Taco, but I don't really think that's controversial to say because I know a lot of people really loved the Super Glossy Taco, but that was recently discontinued. And I've definitely read on Reddit before that Glossy Taco just does not compare. But I don't know, sometimes I still see people like really recommending that one as a great option for a toluene free top coat, but I just don't think it's that great. Like I still think Mooncat's dries down even faster. I don't know if it's like a body chemistry issue thing, but I do find the Holo Taco one just takes a little bit longer to dry, and I end up not really reaching for it that often. And the last question that we have is a polish that doesn't get enough love. And I immediately was like, there's so many, because literally I have talked about so many different polishes from different brands across my favorites videos, whether it's my favorite color series or my favorite finishes series, that end up getting discontinued, and it just is so sad. Most recently with Mooncat doing their Dearly Departed at the beginning of this year, they had so many polishes that I had shared in my favorites before, like Into the Wishing Well was one of my favorite shimmers, Lava Lamp and Mood Ring were some of my favorite flakies. I literally just shared Apollo, which was one of their magnetics, and it was kind of the same with Holo Taco. Like when Christine does that one stream at the beginning of the year talking about like the sales data from the year before, that's where she includes like, these are the polishes that we're gonna be retiring for whatever reason. My heart broke when I saw Fairy Tale, because that was one that I shared, I believe, in my favorite magnetics video and in my favorite browns video. Not to mention other like expected kind of shades like Frostlight or Fake Date, Full Charge, like those are also super beautiful. But I don't know, sometimes I feel like I share polishes that literally don't get enough love and then they get discontinued. So that wraps up my unpopular opinion nail polish tag. I really hope that you enjoyed this video because I definitely had fun recording it and talking about these. I have done some unpopular opinions video before where I posted a question box over on my Instagram stories, but it has been a year since doing them. So if you would like to see another installment of that, definitely let me know in the comments, but I hope you do share your responses in the comments either way to these questions, because I'm so curious to know your answers to them, especially when it comes to like the polishes that are popular but you don't like them, or ones you think are overhyped. It's just always so interesting to see what people think. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. Leave me a like if you did, and make sure to leave me any and all thoughts you have down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!